In this video, I am going to deal with an interesting topic, bird migration. The contents dealt with here are kinds of migration, mode of flight in migration, causes of migration, advantages of migration, evolutionary origin of migration, navigation or orientation. When I thought of this topic, I have raised some questions you may also have. That is, what is migration? What is bird migration? What is the difference between long distance migrants and short distance migrants? What is the aim of the World Migratory Day? And why birds are said to be resident or sedentary birds? Do birds migrate? And what is the importance to study bird migration? And when was the World Migratory Day initiated? And now, what is migration? The movement of animals from one place to another at a particular time is known as migration. Migration occurs in almost all the animals, including humans. Migration may be emigration or immigration. That is, migration occurs either by immigration or emigration. Outward movement of animals from their natural habitat is immigration, and inward movement of birds from outside the habitat is immigration. Thus, both the process is seen in almost all animals, and this type of immigration and emigration is also seen in birds. By virtue of their unique adaptations for flight, birds are better equipped for extensive travel and undertake regular migratory movements. Because of their adaptive behavior of flight, the birds regularly migrate. Not all species of birds are migratory. There are flightless birds which do not migrate. The birds which migrate are called migratory birds. And birds that are non-migratory are said to be resident or sedentary birds, and the birds migration is a two-way journey. It means a regular periodic to and fro movement of population of some birds between their summer and winter homes. Or the birds may also migrate for the purpose of breeding and nesting place to a feeding place and resting place. That is, they migrate from summer to winter homes, or they migrate to breeding places, and from the breeding places they return back to home or again to nesting places, and again from the feeding place to resting place, and in this way they migrate from one place to another. And based on their requirements, they will migrate to shorter places or they travel to a longer way. Now let us discuss why do birds migrate. The main reason for bird migrations are shortage of food resources. The second thing is lack of water, and the third thing is environmental factors like diseases, climatic change and natural disasters. And fourth one is to protect their young ones, and fifth one in search of mating partners, and sixth one in intra-specific or inter-specific competition, and the seventh one deforestation due to destruction of their homes. It is happening because of their destruction of their home. Then eighth one is ecosystem imbalance because of the excessive use of pesticides. The population of insect decreases, which causes the migration of insect eating birds. The birds which feed on insects, due to starvation, they migrate to places where food is available. And the ninth one is predatory and entrance of foreign species into their habitat. When the predatory birds or foreign species of birds enter into their habitats, the migration may also occur. And 10th one is human activities like highway constructions, flyover constructions, electro cautions, building construction, illegal poaching and many other reasons. And keeping all this in mind, the need for the protection of migratory birds and their habitats become an important factor to study about their migratory behavior. And in 2006, World Migratory Bird Day was initiated and is highlighted as a global awareness raising campaign. And the birds would not survive during winters, so they migrate to tropical regions where the climate is moderate. Winter is also happens to be the breeding season for most migratory birds. Also, they stop their journey when they feel hunger and they rest when they are tired. Based on the studies, ornithologists have recognized different kinds of migrations in birds. That is, first one is latitudinal migration, second one longitudinal migration, third one altitudinal migration, fourth one partial migration, fifth one is seasonal migration, and sixth one vagrant migration, and seventh one climatic migration. First we will discuss about the latitudinal migration. The birds move from north to south or vice versa. Usually the birds migrate from their northern home to the southern home to pass the winter, and with the advent of summer they again migrate to the north. That is vice versa. Of summer they again migrate to the north. For example, several North American birds like American golden plover and Eurasian birds like Arctic tern or sterna, they migrate to south to spend winter in warmer parts of the South America and Africa. You know, this American golden plover passes the 9 months of winter 8,000 miles away in south. Thus, these birds enjoy 2 summers each year from the extremes of winter. So, these two birds enjoy 2 summer seasons. And the second one is longitudinal migration. Some birds migrate from the east-west direction. East-west direction, places in the east-west directions and vice versa. Example, starling moves from a breeding area in Eastern Europe towards the Atlantic coast. And other examples for this is blue grosbeak and black-headed grosbeak. These also move from an area to east to west directions. And then third one is altitudinal or vertical migration. Here some birds migrate vertically from plains to mountain regions. Plains to slope, that is, they go to the mountainous regions in the summer and return to the plains in winter season. For example, the grapes and coots of Anton in Argentina and willow ptarmigan, this is the willow ptarmigan of Siberia, migrate from this mountain region to plains. These birds regularly migrate seasonally. In each season they migrate regularly. And in Indian common woodcock, this is the common woodcock Scolopax rusticola and bush chat migrate from plain to slope of Himalayas 1000 feet above the sea level. They will be moving from plains to slope, that is Himalayan regions, to a 1000 feet above the sea level. And the next one is partial migration. Here some species remain permanently in the native while others of the same species migrate. That is bluebirds and blue jays of Canada. They in northern United States travel southwards. They travel towards the south to mingle with the sedentary population of southern state. They will mingle with the sedentary population of southern states. And some birds like redbreast, finches and song thrush are seen throughout the year. These birds are all or seen throughout the year. But these are not permanent residents. These will not be a permanent resident, but these are permanent residents. And the birds seen in winter are not same which are seen in the summer season. So then as they are not a permanent residents, the birds which are seen in winter are not same which are seen in the summer seasons. That's why the species of birds are called partial migrants. So these species of birds are called partial migrants. Then fifth one is seasonal migration. In temperate countries, the birds migrate seasonally. That is, for example, in Britain, nightingale. Here you can see in Britain, nightingale, cuckoo and swift migrate from southern during spring season towards north where it is summer and are said to be summer visitors. As they move towards the summer season, they are said to be summer visitors. Here you can see summer visitors, winter visitors and spring and autumn visitors. Likewise, some birds such as the snow bunting, and red wing, they are red wing or winter visitors. As they arrive in the autumn season, from the winter they arrive at the autumn season from north and stay throughout the winter. Throughout the winter they will be there. That is, they will be staying throughout the winter season and fly away in spring season. They will fly away spring season so that they remain until they breed. Also they will remain in the same area until they breed. And some species like snips and sandpipers, here you can see snip and common sandpiper, which passage, that means they stay for short time on the way to colder or warmer countries in spring and autumn. They will be staying for a shorter period of time in colder or warmer countries in spring, during spring and autumn seasons. And they seen twice a year. They are seen twice in a year. And the next one is vagrant or irregular migrants. Some birds such as threshold, here you can see thrushes, herons and warblers, and also cuckoos, after breeding, the young ones and the adults disperse to all directions. Breeding, after the breeding season, the young ones as well as the adults disperse to all directions, that is different directions as strays. They are dispersed to hundreds of miles in search of food. They will be dispersed to different places around hundreds of miles in search of food materials. That's why irregular migration, it's called irregular migrations. And then the seabirds are sometimes taken by means of natural calamities like hurricanes to faraway places from home seas. And the next one is climatic migration, that is occurs by seasonal changes in climate of the environment. For example, ducks and geese migrate to north to south. And here, besides above mentioned this climatic migrations, they also migrate like alimentary and gametic migrations. That is, avian migration also occurs by means of alimentary or gametic means. That is, alimentary migration occurs as a result of food shortage, due to food shortage, and gametic migration occurs for a reproductive purpose. And next one we are going to discuss about the mode of flight in migration. While the flight, how the mode is different, that is diurnal and nocturnal flight is seen. Second one, speed and duration, then altitude of flight, range of migration, segregation during migration, routes, regularity of migration and order of migration. And here you can see diurnal and nocturnal birds. This is in this slide you can see all these birds are diurnal birds, that is crow, pelican, cranes, hawks, geese and swallows. These are all diurnal migrant birds, and these are nocturnal birds. The small sized birds such as sparrows, warble, thrushes, black crowned, these two birds are seen in India. Black crowned night herons, owls. Other examples are warblers, thrushes, sparrows, etc. also nocturnal birds. Then about the speed and duration of flight. Small birds may fly an average of 30 miles per hour. Small birds fly an average of 30 miles per hour. But you can see here Indian Swift, it can fly a maximum of 170 miles per hour. Time taken to travel is usually 5 to 6 hours a day. The time taken is 5 to 6 hours a day. And the longest, the golden, see here you can see golden plover, which can fly, or it has a world record with the longest non-stop flight, a distance of 2400 miles from Hudson Bay and Alaska to South America. Hudson Bay to Alaska of South America. And the third one, altitude of flight. Some birds fly very close to the earth. See, you can see the earth's sea level from the sea level and mountain level. The sea level is up to 3280 feet. Here you can see Canada goose and songbirds, they will be flying at the sea level. Most of them fly within 3000 feet of the earth. Some birds fly at about 5000 to 14,000 feet at night times, and some can even cross the Andes and Himalayas of 2000 feet. Some birds can fly above 20,000 feet or more than that. Here you can see bar-headed goose, it is flying at an height of 29,500 feet, and some cranes and swans also flies at an height of 33,000 feet. Here you can see mountain and the aircraft shown to identify the difference of height. Okay, and then range of migration. Range varies from a few miles to thousands of miles. For example, Himalayan snow partridges travel a distance of 1 to 2 miles. And while golden plovers and swallows travel 6,000 to 9,000 miles. This Arctic tern migrate about 11,000 miles. And recent study shows that Amur falcon can migrate from Nagaland. See here you can see Amur falcon, which can migrate from Nagaland in India to South Africa and back to India, covering a distance of up to 13,700 miles a year, that is 22,000 kilometers. And this Arctic tern migrate about 11,000 miles. And this is the longest distance undertaken by the migratory birds, this Amur falcon. The next one is segregation during migration. Some birds during flight segregate. Example, kingfisher, swift, etc. travel in separate companies. That is, some travel in mixed companies of several species. That is, swallow and vultures travel in mixed company, and this species travel in a segregate or separate companies. And about the routes of migration, usually migratory birds have a definite routes like sea route, coastal route, river, valley, mountain routes, etc. And about regularity of migration, migratory birds show a striking timing regularity year after year in their timing in arrival and departure. And the ninth one, order of migration. Adults migrate first and young ones follow them. Adults will be migrating first and then the young ones will be following them. Also the adult males take the lead of the female and the adult female follows them. And here you can see the causes of migration. Several theories have been proposed to explain the causes of migration in birds, that is environmental stimuli, gonadial stimuli, metabolic hypothesis, thyroid hormones, anti-pituitary hormones, multifactorial hypothesis, etc. And this may be due to the environmental factors. This first one may be due to environmental factors. The shortening of daytime, scarcity of food, increased cold or stormy weather, increase of atmospheric pressure, etc. or environmental stimuli which excite birds to migrate to the places, different birds to shift the birds from one place to another. Drought and heat glare also excites birds to migrate. It is also an environmental stimuli. And the second one is gonad stimuli. Hormones secreted by gonads of birds also stimulate the birds to migrate. Experiments prove that the underdeveloped or defective reproductive organs lack the instinct of migration. This reveals the fact that bird migrate for breeding. That's why it's a reason that gonadic stimuli. Then metabolic hypothesis. Third one is metabolic hypothesis. Prior to migration, that is before migration, the birds store fat and other metabolites in their body. This helps the bird to fly several hundreds of miles without food or drink. They will travel hundreds of miles without food or drinks. Birds may fly from 15 to 600 miles based on the availability of food, water and shelter. Fat produces more energy than stored glycogen. So, the fat is stored in the muscles of the birds for utilizing it for the flight. Then thyroid hormones. This hormone produces certain changes in the metabolic process of migratory birds and compel the birds to migrate. And then fifth one is anti-pituitary hormones. Increased day length affects pituitary glands and known to regulate the migration. It is based on photoperiod. That is, photoperiod is the number of hours and minutes of daylight in each day. If it drops, birds will start to south, and if it extends, it will start to move to north. The sixth one is multifactorial hypothesis. The exact stimuli or trigger for migration is not yet known. Recently proved that it is a habit like all other habits and it has to be occurred. That is, the habits which occurred by course of time, by means of the evolution. So, here you can see the theories behind the origin of evolution in migration. Here one theory assumes that the original home of the birds was in the northern hemisphere when it was warm and abundant in food throughout the year. Onset of ice age forced them, here you can see onset of ice age forced them to shift southward for survival. With the end of the ice age, they came back. The another theory states that the ancestral home of the birds was in south and went north to avoid overcrowding and competition, and they returned to south for nesting and breeding purposes. So, to avoid overcrowding and competition, the birds might have migrated from south to north, and it is said that the ancestral home of the birds will be south and some went north to avoid overcrowding and competition, or they returned to south for nesting and breeding purposes. And then third evolutionary theory is that They explain the process of migration as an evolutionary adaptation. That is, according to William Rowan, the best explained is that inheritance of occurred character. The flight adaptation is occurred by means of an inheritance of occurred character, which explains by Lamarck. This theory is the most convincing one among these three. And then advantages of migration are they will get suitable climatic conditions, they will get new and abundant supply of food, they can avail increased space for breeding and nesting, long hours of daylight for searching food, and gene exchange takes place. And have you ever wondered how birds navigate or orientate? It was a mystery for a long time. We have seen already why birds migrate. Here we can see some opinions about ornithologists. That is, many ornithologists gave various explanations. One of them is Gustav Kramer told that birds use sun as compass for orientation. And the second one, a German ornithologist told Franz Saucer orientation is by the position of stars. By means of position of stars, the orientation takes place. Birds orientate by the position of stars. And the another ornithologist opined that von Middendorf and Henry L. Yakovlev opined that by mechanical Coriolis effect, the movement or migration of bird is by means of mechanical Coriolis effect. Here you can see the ideas that birds navigate through response to the Earth's magnetic field. That is, their inner ear reacts to the mechanical Coriolis effect produced, which was told by von Middendorf and Henry L. Yakovlev. On a rotating solid body, an initial force acts on the body at right angles to its direction of motion. This is what is happening in the Coriolis effect. They have natural instinct and use the Earth's magnetic field to travel by. They detect it in their beaks, and some scientists claim they can ever see it. And some have suggested it has a homing instinct. It also will be having a homing instinct ability, as in the case of ants, bees and carrier pigeons. That is, homing instinct means ability to return to its territory after traveling away from it. And few suggestions are about the bird's eyes contain molecules that are thought to sense. These molecules are linked to an area of the brain known as process visual information. And these are the challenges and threats faced by the birds while they are traveling for a long distance or long journeys. That is, cold weather. Some birds, they cannot withstand cold weathers and hot weathers, drought, and they will be suffering with the availability of water. And the bigger or more vicious, dangerous birds like vultures. The small birds will be faced by the dangerous bird like this vultures. And the another important challenge is that human hunting, etc. This is drought. Okay. And to the end, birds are very much important to mankind. Without them, insects would eat all living plants globally in less than 2 years. And the birds are not on earth to function as beautiful ornaments in the trees and skies. Okay, thank you all.